Hi, so in this video, I want to go over basically setting up Google Cloud and just trying to learn some of the new ways of, utilizing the cloud. A lot of my background is from using AWS and Azure. And what I want to do is this video might be a little rough, so I want to kind of go through and see how easily translatable are my skills from the get go. Like setting this up, trying to set up basically a home, some type of VM that I can remote desktop into just by using what skills and knowledge that I have from building networks in Azure and AWS. Because essentially, a lot of what you're going to be doing is the same. The terminology might be different just because it's a different platform, but you still need VNets, you still need VMs, you still need network security groups, unless they have like some, defaults that are different amongst the other ones. But a lot of it should be all in the same. So I'm going to basically just set up my account that I've never set up. And so you do need a Gmail account. So I'm just going to, type in my and two factor. Let's go ahead and 1 second. So give me one. So once you get signed in, you're basically going to get taken to a screen. Looks like you want some account information. And it looks like I'm also going to need to input a credit card. So I think Azure kind of does that same thing, if I remember correctly. You don't get charged after the trial, but it is on file in case you do incur any charges, I'm guessing. Looks like you get also $300 in free credits. So I'm going to go ahead and select none of these. So I'm going to go with other. And then I'm going to pause this and put in my credit card information. So looks like once we get signed in, basically what brought you to Google Cloud. I'm gonna just say just learning about specific products. What are you interested in doing? Virtual machines, yada yada. Next, and what best describes your role? I'm just gonna say systems administrator. That works. So here we are. So it looks like this is their console, and you got my information here. Recommended based on your interest in containers, VMs. So it looks like they got some pre-built solution templates. So deploy a load balance managed VM. Here it goes, create a VM. So that's essentially what I want to do. So let's see what we actually get taken down the path of setting up. So looks like they kind of have a similar setup to Azure as far as like, showing you like the overview, documentation, related products all down here. So that's a little bit the same. Looks like they says try this API. Wonder what that takes us to here. So it looks like we get some information on probably being able to like manage it via like like an API, kind of like how Azure has like their AZ CLI where you can, create, delete, do all types of stuff. But we won't get into that here now. But I'm going to go ahead and enable. So I wonder if this will take me through creating like my virtual network and all the other stuff that I would typically need to set up a VM and be able to utilize it from outside of a network. So it looks like it's loading here. So it looks like they create projects. So create my first project 3 minutes ago. So it looks like their projects are essentially maybe possibly what resource groups are. So in Azure, they use resource groups to kind of bundle. You can bundle resources that kind of share the same life cycle. So it kind of makes it a little easier to kind of manage things as far as like what's being utilized. And when you get around to removing things, you could actually just remove the entire resource group and the contents inside of it. On the AWS side, they don't really have like a structure like that. It's more kind of siloed. So like if you have like a EC2 instance, and then like some virtual networks and VPCs and all that type of stuff. You really don't kind of get into like the resource group level stuff. But one important thing is just tagging. So, if you can tag things appropriately, it kind of makes it easier to kind of see what's all going on. So it looks like brings us to this stage here. So it looks like VM instances here. So we got an option to import a VM, create an instance. We got some instance templates down here. Don't see storage, VM manager, some settings, things like that. So let's click on this networks here. I wonder if they give you like some type of pre-built network. So that doesn't look like what I want. So I'm just going to go back to VM instances, and let's go ahead and create an instance. So I wonder if what that first part was basically doing was just enabling the ability to create an instance. And now this is where we actually go in and do the rest of it. So I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to call it homelab VM. See, they got like a little monthly estimate off here to the side, kind of similar to Azure. They got regions, so kind of similar to AWS and Azure. You got your Northeast 1, Northeast 2. These the Americas, yeah. So South America, U.S. Central, U.S. East 1. So pretty similar. Looks like they got quite a bit more data centers than I would say like Azure has, but who knows how that's set up. That could be maybe the availability zones kind of are essentially what kind of defines some of these or whatever. So I'll have to see and look into more of that. So I'm going to go more east, or actually just go central. See what kind of our cost savings we get with the so about 3 cents hourly. And then so here's the zones. So so they got this region, and then they got 4 availability zones. So far so good. The knowledge transfer is a little not too bad, kind of the same. So region zones, we're going to be putting in that. Manage tags and labels, so some tags we can add. Then we got general purpose, compute optimized. So this is kind of similar to Azure as well. You can kind of get an idea on how many virtual CPUs and memory. So let's go with something like let's go EC2. We'll stick with this one based on availability. That's fine. And then down here, so it lets you then choose your machine type. So looks like you can kind of define. So you can define the actual configuration series, and then down here you can pick what part of that series you want. So that's pretty similar to Azure there as far as the series and type. So as we can see, we just almost doubled our cost based on the hourly by adding the extra virtual CPUs and memory. And provisioning models, so availability policies. So I think, Azure has something similar to this as well. So Spot and standard Spot is probably going to be something where it might actually be cheaper. Let's see. So Spot instances are going to be something that you can just, you don't care if it gets, deleted or shut down by Google at any moment. It's basically you just have instances that you're just using to test with or something, or you have something that's resilient to being brought down and back up. So it looks like you can set a time limit for the VM. That might actually be useful for auto powering off. Azure has that as well, so you can save money. On host maintenance, I'd say migrate. That's pretty cool. I don't think I've seen something like that on Azure as far as AWS. I have seen notices where they make you actually power it off or shut it down so that they can migrate it during maintenance times. and enable to use screen capture and recording tools. So that's, we're not going to worry about that. Confidential VM service. Confidential computer is disabled in this VM instance. Not going to worry about that. So then we got our boot disk. So we got our disk here. I'm going to create a 10 gig disk. And the image type is Debian. Let's see if we got Windows here. Let's change this up here to Windows. And Server 2022. And what's under the advanced configuration? So that's fine there. So let's go ahead and hit select. And then it looks like allow default access, allow HTTP traffic. So yeah, we're not going to allow anything to allow specific network traffic from the internet. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, so we're not going to allow anything in. So let's go ahead and hit create. It says advanced options. So networking. So a custom host name. Looks like it's going to give it that internal. Network interface card. Google VNIC. So we're not going to worry about that either. It looks like some default networks. So it looks like it's going to create a default network, or might already be created. We got a default subnet. So I'm guessing we could have created a network or subnet somewhere, particularly alias IP range. So let's go ahead and reserve a static external IP address. Let's just call it homelab public IP. And let's reserve that. So as we can see, we got a premium image, 17 cents hourly. Looks like we've gone up quite a bit, but I'm not going to worry about that. It's only going to be on for a couple seconds anyway. So public DNS pointer record, we won't worry about that. So then we got disk security. Let's see if we have anything as far as like network security groups to try to get into this thing. That looks like about it. I want to say from the firewall perspective, I'll be curious to how they're determining what is allowing RDP traffic in. I'm not seeing anything as far as, manage how users connect to the VM. So manually generated SSH keys, because I haven't found anywhere where I put a username or password in and get into this thing. So that's what I'm curious at. So let's see here. No, that's not it. Management. Where was I just at? I will say so far their portal isn't as intuitive as Azure's. Theirs is more of a next step type deal, and I'm not liking the top-down approach to this, so not sure why it's going to require SSH access if I chose a Windows VM. You would think there would be somewhere that allows you to choose the username and password. Now I can't even find where that VM was. Well, let's just go ahead and hit create, see what happens. Probably missing what's this thing saying? Windows VM are not included with the free trial. First enable billing on your account, you still be able to apply your free trial credits. Okay, so we need to enable billing on my account. So let me go ahead and enable that real quick. Okay, so I had to get my full account activated. So now let's go back through and let's see. We should be able to get that set up again. So, I actually do see. Okay, so they got VPC networks here. Okay, so it's all coming together now. So yeah, we got the default VPC created, 37 subnets. Oh, so they must already got some built out here. Yeah, so it looks like they got some subnets per region. Got some firewall routes. Ooh, that took you to another section. They kind of try to keep it within the same little realm. So firewall, default RDP, allow RDP in. Sure, maybe you can even source. Oh, they got any. Surprised they have it set to any. Wonder how many people forget to check that or something. So let's go back to the VM section and so it took the one that I had off. So let's just blow through this real quick. So Google Cloud Home Lab VM. That's fine. That's fine. That's okay. Standard. Actually, let's do a bigger instance just to get it going faster once we start it up. Let's make sure that I am changing the things that's needed. They don't make this really. Okay, here we go. Okay, now that's fine. Got some advanced stuff here. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything before I'm going down too fast. Not going to deploy container. Advanced options. Networking. Nothing changed there. We got our default subnet. No additional disk. Let's hit manage access. So it says by default, when you connect to a VM, use this console or G Cloud. Your SSH keys are generated automatically. So they probably create SSH keys and then you get the password through the console or something. Um, I know AWS does it similar to that as well. Let's see. I didn't see the option to change the VM type. I did that last time. Now I can't even find it. Oh, here we go. It's changed. Boot disk. All right, so let's switch this to Windows Server, Data Center. Some custom images. So delete boot disk on the deletion. All right, so let's go ahead and select that. This is probably going to go up. They're pretty expensive. Yeah, I don't know. I think these pricing might be a different because it says premium image usage fee. I almost feel like well, Azure of course would be cheaper because if I had to guess, Google Cloud's probably paying some licensing fee to use the images. I don't know. I just don't feel like that for that size VM. I don't think I would see a 8 gig 2 VPC going for $121 a month on Azure. But we can compare later. So I'm going to go ahead and create. I saw they actually had an equivalent code option. That's pretty cool. It might actually give you the APIs you would use to create exactly what we were doing here now. So I'm not sure how long this will take. I know on Azure it could take a little while to get a VM up and going. You got to get the oh wow, that was pretty quick. All right, so let's see here. So we got a couple options that can be clicked on. You got this option here. And okay, so it gives us the option to set a Windows password. If a Windows account with the following username does not exist, it will be created and a new password assigned. If the account, okay, so Azure does something similar to this as well. If there isn't an account that's set, and you add the username and password that's not in there, it will just set it for you there. So that's pretty cool. We may need to set that up. We got our network down here, our storage. All in all, I'd say it's not bad. It just probably just takes a little bit of time of getting used to the different screens. They do try to keep everything in a nice, tight, area. Azure sometimes can kind of throw stuff around a little bit. I do like the option of how the resource groups kind of deploy each instance or resource differently, so you can kind of see them and manage them in a different way. So let's go ahead and might not be able to connect to the serial console yet. Let's see some of this. So all right, so yeah, it is running. So let's see if we can get a screenshot of where it's at. So device display setting is enabled. So we didn't turn that on. I remember seeing that. So let's try and see if we can actually RDP to this thing. Let's get the public IP here. So I'm going to take this and where are we at here? Bring this over here and let's try to remote in. There we go. Oh wow, so now I don't know the password, so let me go ahead and set one. And let's go just call it Google admin. What about the password though? I wonder if it gives it to you once it's like a default encrypted one. Okay, there we go. So got the password. So it's Google admin. And there we go. So for my first time setting up Google Cloud and provisioning it, I was able to get a VM up and running. Probably, well, if we take out the billing and information stuff, probably about 10 minutes, which wasn't bad. The thing I would want to kind of get more information on and understanding is how all this is set up. I'll probably do a video on how to automate it using Terraform to kind of be able to destroy it when not needed and make sure nothing else is kind of lingering around. But this is a great way to I like to actually, before, start automating things, understand like where things are at in the portal. It's actually very important to know that stuff, just in case you have to do any type of troubleshooting and things like that. So there's a, kind of similarity to a lot of it. As you can see, I was able to just take the kind of knowledge I already have from Azure and just understand like what's being done. I can see that there's some similarities to a lot of things. You can create a machine image. So, Azure has something similar to that. There's a snapshots. This is probably something similar. Created like a little snapshot to use. Kind of like AWS has the same thing. There's our called AMI images, so you can use those for either cross-region restores or things like that. So, um, yeah. So with that being said, they do kind of make it easy, but I will say, as far as easy and usability, there is a little bit of a learning curve, because of the whole setup and how things are based on like projects and things like that. I wonder if I could actually delete just a project. I saw I did have an option to create a new project, but I saw that I only get 9 projects that I can create. So I'll probably be weary of that and kind of see how does things kind of go in terms of project usage and how do you keep things separated? Because like with Azure, everything's in like resource groups, and with Google, it looks like they're using it more of a project based thing. So I'm only on a individual account, so business accounts could be different, but nice little way to kind of learn and go from there. So I'm actually going to delete this project, and let's see, can I delete both of those? Yeah. So let's try to one at a time here. Projects may continue to current charge to avoid unnecessary charges, disable billing. Okay. So I can actually go in and go to, well, I'll do that later. So in case it shows some stuff that I don't want it to show. But basically that's it. If you have any questions in regards to anything, again, I'm not really a Google Cloud expert, but I mean, as far as networking and cloud and how a lot of things are set up, it's pretty much all the same. So, if you have any, ideas or questions in regards to something I may have missed or may have said wrong, if you're familiar with Google, drop me a comment down below and I'll be sure to get back with you. Again, thanks for tuning in and I hope to see you next time.